Welcome back to Tabletop Vibes. Today we are looking at Cryptic Nature by Idventure. Adam, what'd you think of the game?
Yeah, so this game is a good crunchy game. Like, it has a good feel to it. You're literally a cryptozoologist. I didn't think I was gonna be able to say it, but I managed. And you're out there scouting out for monsters.
Yes,
in the
cryptics.
world. Cryptics.
Yes.
Cryptids.
Which are never before seen animals and monsters out all across Europe.
in the wild.
Yeah. So what you're going to be doing is basically this game is 3 phases. So 2 phases, but then there's a third
Optional.
phase. So the first phase, you are the cryptozoologist, and you are scouring across Europe looking for evidence of all of these cryptics. So you have 2 phases, or 2 actions you can do.
Right.
Action number 1 is movement, because you got to move around the board.
Right.
And then action number 2 is your actual action phase. And within the action phase, you can take more movement. You can collect evidence. You know, people have heard things going on. They found tracks. There's some rumors. So you get those evidence. If you find a cryptic and you know where that cryptic is, you can try to capture it.
Yep.
And then once you have the cryptic,
There's the safe way.
Yep, there's the
And
safe
then
way.
there's the not safe way.
So if you have all the evidence, that's the safe way. But if you don't have all the
Get
evidence,
the nets out, guys.
that's right. So you roll a die for every evidence you don't have, and anything that
dice.
comes up red, it got away. You missed it. You didn't have enough to contain it. If it comes up green, then you
got
get
it. Yep.
There's a blank, and then there's also a wild. It's normally a failure unless you get the upgrade, and then it turns into a success.
Yeah, I would say though in this game, a lot of the stuff we were playing, and when we played, Jason won. That's fine. But like you're getting, like when you're upgrading, which we'll go into more later, it's the passive abilities are where it's at.
No, the active abilities.
Oh, the active abilities. The
abilities.
passive abilities are great.
I thought it was the passive.
Yeah, the active abilities are amazing.
Yes.
So are the passive abilities, but the active abilities are where you can really start to combo things together to make the turns what you want.
Absolutely. So you can also take those cryptics and you can settle them in a city. So you got to get to any city on the board.
Right.
And then you take that cryptic, you put it in its nice little habitat, it's nice and happy. You gain some bonuses from that. And then you can also reset evidence. Right. So there's evidence markers all around the map. And anytime there's less than 7, then you can take your turn, you can get all new evidence and you get some XP or money.
Yeah, you get you get money, 1 XP, or 2 movement.
Right.
And then you can take any of those 3.
Right. So then you also have your optional actions, and this is where the active actions really come into play. And these active actions, they cost XP to get, but basically they're a duplicate of all of your action abilities. We only get 1 action ability normally, so this is where you get to really chain it together.
So like you have movement, right? So you get to move 2 or 4 if you use both your main actions, or you can get and unlock an ability to then be able to stop in between those movements to do actions, because that's not allowed normally. You can gather more evidence. You can drop a cryptid monster in a city without taking your main action to do it.
Right.
Like, so they're all very powerful abilities that you want to have upgraded to then be able to do that engine of combos.
Absolutely. And then you get into the second phase. The second phase is the assistance phase.
Gotta have an assistant.
Yeah, gotta have an assistant. And that assistant, he's kind of trying to improve in your expedition.
Right.
So it has 2 different areas. You can move up the track, which is a turn order track. Whoever's the highest up the track gets to go first.
Initiative order.
You get to move up the track. That's where you're spending your XP and you're being able to claim those passive and active abilities. Or you move down the track, and this is where you get 1 die.
Yeah, you roll
4
or 5 dice. At the start of the round, they all have certain symbols on it. Money, XP, movement, reset some passive abilities.
Active.
Jeez. I'll get it down one day. Active abilities. And then if you take that action, you're going to move down on the track, take 1 of those dice, and then it's out of the pool to pick from. And then, or you can move up like Jason was saying. But there's also the optional action, which is, I feel like it's where it's at.
Yeah, you like those options.
Yeah, I like the option.
You figured that out way before I did.
Yeah, because like you can spend money, which at first you're like, I don't really think what money's for. Everything.
Yes.
Make money, spend money, make money.
Money, very important.
Yeah. And so you can spend money to move up 1 space on the track. You can spend money to buy a
It's evidence.
Yep. You can sell evidence back to the market You can swap evidence.
And just swap it, or you can actually take, if you have a
3,
4
yeah.
and there's a 3, you actually get 1 money back. So you can actually make some money from there.
And it's all about sequences and comboing those sequences.
Right. So it reminds me a little bit of the Castles of Burgundy
Right.
type of chaining going on.
Yeah.
But what's really kind of cool in this game, where in Castles you have this kind of build up, then execute.
Right.
With this one, the other thing you can do is you can spend your money and you can reset your
not passive.
Active.
Jeez. I was ready for it. I
threw
ready.
it out for you. You can reset your active abilities, so you can get these chain combos going over every turn. So at the start, there's not much to do, but there's a lot to do as the
One
game
of the
progresses.
main active abilities is the airplane.
Yes.
Which you can literally then teleport. You can fly. It's like teleportation. That comes later in the future. You can fly anywhere on the map, which gets you way quicker.
Oh yeah, because usually
And it's an optional active ability.
Because usually what happens is the evidence you need is on one side of the map, and
always.
where you need to get that cryptic's on the other side of the map. So the airplane will help to
Talk about your favorite how the evidence gets put out. This is awesome.
Oh yeah, this is a really cool mechanic. I really enjoy this.
Yes.
So the idea is that you need to randomly distribute this evidence, but rather than just kind of throw it out on the board and whatever there is. The evidence tokens are two-sided. So on one side, you actually have the physical evidence, but on the other side, you have marker locations. So what happens is the first evidence that you put down in the market, that's what stars it, you have, let's say, S4. Then you pull another token from the bag, and that maybe has E1. You put that token on the S4 location. Then you put another token, you put that in the E1 location that has C2. So this way it randomizes around there. It's kind of a neat mechanic
every
way to do it.
time.
Yeah,
there's no bias. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
It's great. That's an awesome.
Fantastic
We loved it.
mechanic.
We were like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that at first, but now that I do, it's amazing.
Right. So the other thing in the game is there's going to be victory points, and these are kind of all over the place. You get victory points for the cryptics. You get victory points for settling the cryptics. You get public endgame victory points. You have private endgame victory points. You have special requests that you have to fulfill. So like refilling 2 bird type cryptics will get you 4 points. When you're building them in the sanctuary, you got to put these little tiles down.
Let's talk about the sanctuary really quick.
Yeah, you get points for that at the end of the game. But yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so when you capture your cryptic at the end of a...
So let's lead into that. So first, after your cryptozoologist and your assistant, then you have to place a tile.
Into the
sanctuary.
And they're magnetic, which is pretty cool as well. The magnetic board, depending on if you're playing 2 or 4 people, that board shrinks or is enlarged. And so then you're placing, there's blue, there's orange, and there's green. And on every cryptic, there is a like Tetris shape that you're going to then add over top the...
So you're talking about the simple shapes like, just a single line, or you have like backwards squiggly.
Or a square, or the Z, and then whatever you cover, which would, on the end of those assistant actions that Jason is talking about, you're placing these to try to fulfill the cryptid into whatever
color
and shape that it is, to be able to put it in its sanctuary all cozy and happy.
And whatever you cover, those bonuses you get. So you could put one down and get like 5 money, or
5 money,
or
experience.
2 XP, 3 movement. And this is actually where you get a lot of stuff. But again, this is more of that engine building, more of that comboing that's really ingrained into the game.
And the more you play this, the more of those patterns and things are going to make sense, and you're going to figure out how you want to. There is some hate drafting aspects where, like, I set it up, Jason gets to the guy, he places on top of it, I can't no longer drop my cryptid. Also, you need to watch what your cryptid shapes are, because I captured one in the wild with my nets. Perfect throw, by the way. And
first time ever with
First time ever, it never happens to me. Nailed it, and then, like luck would have it, I couldn't put it anywhere because the shape was too big.
They didn't have a fence the right size. Your cryptic was too big.
It bled over into other colors. There is some, though, cryptids that play off both colors, which is a lot of fun. And so, I mean, it's just a vast amount of like replayability and comboing. Like, no game will be the same.
No.
At all.
And
there's so many cryptid monsters in this game, you're not going to get bored of it. And they all do something. Like, they all have a special ability. When you capture it, it does stuff, like either immediately or later on.
Right. So again, more of that comboing,
Yeah.
more of that chaining. That's again, I would say that's the big nature.
Yeah,
of the game.
and the other cool part is if, say, like you're gonna get hosed on your cryptid monster you've been tracking forever because Jason decided to go out there willy-nilly with his nets and win, you can move your tracker marker to a different monster at the end of the assistant phase, which is, I think, is a really great like ability because it gives you the ability to be flexible on the evidence that you're collecting. And you can only collect, I think it's 4 evidence at a time.
Yep. You're limited to 4.
So yeah, it's a blast.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, same
Great
here.
game.
It's coming up to Kickstarter pretty soon, so keep an eye out for that. As always, like, subscribe, and comment what your favorite cryptid monster is. I'd say that I really like the Chupacabra, only because I like to say Chupacabra.
I still think that the platypus, even though it's a real creature, is a cryptic because it makes no sense.
Yeah, and it's ugly. So thanks for watching. We'll check you next time.